How to build an incredible core strength with calisthenics. So I'm going to be showing you a variety of core exercises for all levels, from beginners to advanced, to help you to build core strength to progress onto more advanced skills in calisthenics. The first of all is pretty much my favorite one, is lying leg raises. It's a beginner level exercise and you can modify it in many ways to make it hard for you. So we're going to start off by lying on our backs with our palm pressed down into the ground on both sides. And we want to think about pulling your belly button down towards your spine so that way your lower back is not arching. We're going to point our toes, keep our knees locked out, our legs straight, squeezing your quads, hamstrings and glutes. And then we're going to raise our legs up slowly up until a point where your ankles are stacked on top of your knees and hips. So your torso and your legs is in like a right angle, like an L shape like this. And then you're going to lower down slowly until your heels are about 6 inches off the ground, and then you're just going to repeat. You can vary the speed at which you execute this to make it harder for you. So the slower you go, the harder it will be, and you want to make sure you're squeezing your core, pressing it down into the ground so that way your lower back is not arching. If your legs are tight, then obviously you're going to have to work on some flexibility drills, especially in your hamstrings, because ideally you want your legs to be straight. So to fix that, you can do some seated forward folds as demonstrated in this video here. So just sit down, lean your hand towards your toes and stretch and try to hold this position. And as you breathe into it, so inhale, you come back up, exhale, you go down a little bit deeper. This should slowly open up your hamstrings, which will allow for you to be more flexible in that area. So moving on to the next exercise is the hollow body hold. This is a great exercise for conditioning your core for the handstand. The tension that you feel in this exercise is what you should feel in the handstand. So same principle applies. Lie down on the ground with your back flat and your belly button pulled down towards your spine so that way your lower back is not arching. Then we're gonna point our toes, lift our legs 6 inches off the ground, and then we're gonna extend our arms overhead and we're gonna be in this hollow position. So try to bring your upper back off the ground to create this rounded back. And we're going to squeeze our core, squeeze our glutes. Lower body tension is key. It's not just tension in the core, we want our entire body to be engaged because this is applicable to the handstand. And we're going to be holding this for 20 to 45 seconds. And if this gets a little too hard, you can lift your legs up a little bit more to decrease the load on your core. And if you feel like this is pretty much impossible to do, you can tuck your knees in towards your chest, bring your hands down into the ground and lift your upper back away from the floor. So that way you'll be in a hollow body and you're going to be in a protracted position. Moving on to the next exercise, we have got L-sits. Now, for many of us who want to get into calisthenics, the L-sit is a core exercise that will not only target your core, but also your hip flexors and a bit of your triceps too, depending on whether you're doing them on parallel bars or you're doing them in hanging. But the benefits of doing this is going to be massive in terms of having that extra core strength and stability to assist you in the more advanced skills such as the muscle up, the handstand, front lever. So I've got 3 different progressions for you. So we've got the tuck, where you grip onto the bars and tuck your knees in towards your chest, and we're just going to hold it here with your shoulders depressed down. Once you can hold this comfortably for 20 seconds, and you can move on to the next progression, which is the single leg kicks. So by working on the dynamics phase where you're kicking one leg out while having the other one in, whilst in a tuck position, it's going to help you to build that strength for you to be able to hold the single leg L-sit, and then eventually you'll be able to do the full L-sit hold. So make sure you're keeping your shoulders pushed down, legs pointed, core activated, tense your quads, your hamstrings and your calves, and also to work on the flexibility part as well, the hamstring, because that can be a big issue for many of us. And now we're going to progress on to the next variation of the lying leg raises. You're going to be doing hanging leg raises. So now we're going to be activating our upper body muscles, and it will work on our grip strength as well. So grip onto the bar at about shoulders width apart with your thumbs wrapped under and around the bar. Then we're going to point our toes, and we're going to slowly lift our legs up until a point where your thighs are parallel to the ground and your body is in an L shape. Point your toes, and then we're going to come down at a count of 1.5 seconds to 2 seconds to stop ourselves from swinging. Most of us, when we do it, we can't control the swing, and that's because the tempo at which you do it, it's not ideal for those who are new to this exercise. So you can go up fast at a count of 1 second, but when you come down, slow it right down to really recruit your core muscles to stop yourself from swinging, and find a bar where you can hang high enough so that your feet doesn't touch the ground. Okay, I don't want you to be stopping yourself from swinging by touching your heels to the ground. I want you to actually use your core and then stopping yourself from swinging. So we're going to do this between 10 to 20 reps for 3 sets. The next progression after that is, oh boy, that's a tough one. It's called the toes to bar. Similar to the hanging leg raises, once you can do 20 reps in a row, I challenge you to progress onto the toes to bar. And what this is you're going to hang onto the bar with your hands about shoulders width apart, toes pointed, and we're going to use our core to lift our legs up and then folding ourselves into a V shape, so that way your toes are going to be touching the bar and your core is going to compress. And we do this whilst trying to keep our legs as straight as possible. Once your toes touches the bar, then you're going to slowly come down at a count of 1 to 1.5 seconds, and then using the momentum to kind of reverse Uno card it and then go back up to touch the toes. So you want to be quite quick with this one because the momentum can really help us to squeeze in that extra rep. But be mindful to keep your arms straight or tight and your legs as straight as possible by engaging your quadriceps and hamstrings. So do this between 10 to 15 reps for 3 sets. And finally, a super basic but essential exercise is the plank. Many of us do this wrong, so that's why I'm going to show you how to do it with the right form. And pretty much you're going to get into a plank position with your shoulders stacked on top of your elbows and your fists facing forward, feet together, core tight, and you want to think about doing a posterior pelvic tilt, because many of us, when we do the plank, I just see people doing it with their lower back arched and your scapulars completely retracted, which is okay, but if you want to get the most out of this exercise, you want to be focusing on these key little areas. So again, think about holding the hollow body position by pulling your belly button back towards your spine, pushing your hips forward to create a posterior pelvic tilt. Now we're also going to be protracting as well, so we're going to be pulling our shoulder blades away from each other, and this is going to work on the serratus anterior, which is responsible for pulling your shoulder blades away from each other and holding it there, and it's going to condition you for the planche as well. So hold this for 20 to 60 seconds for 3 sets. So that is it for this video, guys. I hope you do find value in this. If you do, please don't forget to hit the like button, comment, subscribe, and yeah, thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.